Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Ajay, and we are playing today Nila Dhuma. So let's start this game. Just a coincidence. Okay. Surely you have heard a story like this as well, of a boat, train, or even an elevator that can take you to another world. Stories like this are almost as old as the humanity itself. There are plenty of myths which speaks of river or seas that connects to other worlds, myths that many years later would be replaced by urban myths, not so elegant but equally popular. But what would happen such machine existed if after a long time someone invented a machine, a means of transportation that allows you to travel too far off places, not only in distance but also in time. It seems hard to imagine, but time as we know it is only the fourth dimension. Space-time is the fabric that tailors reality, our universe. The two are intimately related and inseparable concept, and just as it is possible to retrace your steps, perhaps with the right tools it might be as equally possible to return your seconds. It is an ancient legend, the phantom train that appears when you least expected it, and it takes you to places unknown and incomprehensible, but just as fascinating. All major colonies have heard about it, human or not, but even then we lack evidence that could verify its existence. If such a thing is even possible to obtain, the majority of people consider it just a fairy tale, and who could blame them? But I think different. The reason is that we don't know how much we could change with the passage of time. I do not speak of me as a person, but of humanity as a whole, and I am not speaking of a few years, but thousands of them. A famous author once said that very advanced technology would be seen as magic by those who can't understand it. It is the same with the train. Perhaps it comes from a time so far it is impossible for us to believe is real, so advanced that it would be easier to call it magic. The reason why I think different is because I am an archaeologist, an explorer who visit who visits inhospitable places in search for ruins forgotten in time. I have visited several planets, most times along with my girlfriend Rachel. We are both united by the passion of discovering new things. We share a desire to learn and continue learning about who we are and where we are, and maybe learning the different points of view of the lost culture might help us to achieve that. Although I look no more than 30 years, I am in fact 176 years old. This is a very usual thanks to cellular regeneration technique developed on par with the dimensional distortion travel, or wormhole as they more commonly known. Said in few words, our body is naturally descent to age. Since that is the path of evolution, new individuals need to replace the old for change to happen. But humans learn to decipher the mysteries of DNA and enhance their health and lifespans to level that would be that have been thought of as impossible. With all that long life, the two of us could explore many ruins, While I look out of the window, I remember how we discovered plenty of myths that spoke about the ghost train or a divine vehicle in places so distant and so similar and detailed in description that it was simply impossible to dismiss it as a fairy tale. However, when we least expected it, misfortune hits us. The horizon, seen from here, is beautiful. No doubt, the universe is beautiful. I wish you were here to see it too, Rachel. Chapter 1. I am not a person. Words are the labels we give to the ideas. It is incredible and even despicable how lacking one of them can turn your world upside down. Health, family, and money. Losing any of those words is a big disgrace. In my case, and for my whole species, the word is a person. I am not a person. Something as simple as that means you're an object, a thing, something which has been stripped of all his natural rights, like a home, family, or food, to serve cruel masters until death. Verbolis is the name of my species, and mine is E2478926 7. It is in fact a serial number and not a proper name, as you might have guessed, since it is considered inappropriate for a living battery as me to have something that reflects individualism. I never met any of my parents, and I am not hopeful of doing it someday. I know completely nothing about the traditional name of my race. All the other fabulous I've met are called with numbers too, always with the letter E at the beginning, which is the acronym for energy or electricity. Our race has an ability in particular we can produce large amount of energy at very low cost. Think of a firefly augmented millions time. This is why we were haunted and enslaved to become batteries for others, energy starved races. It has been more than 100 years since this happened. Before I was born, our species waged war with a so called alliance formed specifically for the purpose of enslaving us. Before the war, there were attempts of dialogue, but clearly they failed. Another sign of our loss is that all of us carry masks we cannot remove. These masks make it difficult to differentiate from each other, as if they were saying we are all the same, with the only exception of the serial number written in our foreheads. The masks also have another purpose. It can emit a deafening sounds as punishment or to stun us, and also inject a deadly poison by just pressing a button. And unfortunately, that's all there is to tell. Only what I heard from the mouth of my jailer and things I have seen in this prison called factory. The vast majority of us are brought to work on power plants or in laboratories where we are dissected. Basically, our only option are to change to a different prison or die by the cold hands of those who want to learn how to artificially replicate our capabilities. But with them as miserable as those is only normal. Many try to escape. Of those, very few succeed, and even if they do, a terrible punishment is given to those who are left. No one is spared, even if you'd had nothing to do with it. Just another cruel method of breaking our will. But who can blame them with this kind of life? Even the punishment is inside must be screaming, escape, run, because we all desire the same. At least that's what I believe, because I always felt that way. And even after seeing several failed attempts, nothing stopped me from trying myself. I waited patiently for the day I could put a foot outside, and now I am running to escape from my captors, crossing what you might call a swamp. Mm. We are though the basic of mechatronics to be able to repair the machines in addition of powering them. Thanks to the I could learn how our mass works and disarm mind to escape. Outside nature smiles at milling of thick of fog that makes it difficult to find me with the naked eyes or sensors. The best way to become invisible is not trying to avoid being seen, but to create a disturbance that blocks other view, providing only useless information, in this case a white blanket and hundreds of ghosts in the radar. Even with the most powerful technologies, nature is always forward. But I must hurry. If I want to go far, I have to keep running, no matter how much it tires me. Fortunately, our species has bodies stronger than most of the sentient races, but even so surpassing me in number of using those floating machines. It is only a matter of time for me to get caught. I gasp for air while endlessly running, avoiding the areas where water is deep. Not once the thought of poisonous animals living in the swamp crosses my mind. I can't think of anything but to escape, running non-stop on the uncomfortable path, simmering myself with mud, dead leaves and dirt until I finally stop. I don't know how much time has passed, but my body finally tells me it cannot take any more and begs me for a break, exhaling to release the hot breath from my lungs. I sit under a thick tree, closing my eyes for a moment. It is then that I realize about the dead silence around me. Something I have to say I found very comforting. The voice of my old master can't be heard at the distance or the sound of their searching machines. I am alone, completely alone, free, and knowing that fills me with a peace. I think taking a little rest would be fine, just a moment. My body feels heavy while I think about it, as if it hard turned into lead. I barely can move it. Everything got dark so fast I never even realized when it happened. An incredible sense of peace surrounds me. It I did it. I managed to escape. I have no idea, but there is no doubt my dream became reality. I just hope that when my eyes open, I won't find myself back in the cell. Suddenly, a deafening noise wakes me up. My eyes open instantly, big as plates, with a face full of surprise behind my mask. Anxious and terrified, I stand up with a jump. It was a metallic sound coming from some sort of machine, but the strange thing is that I had never heard of before. Without a doubt, it should be a search party or so. thought in front of me, hidden partially by the cloud cold fog. I saw what looks like a silhouette of a large machine with several lights all pointing at me, creating an image that was as impressive and even more terrifying. But strangely, nothing else happens. For several seconds, I shocked, paralyzed, staring at the machine in silence, waiting for it to shoot me or give me a warning. And yet, none of that happens. It just silently stares back at me as if calling me wordlessly. Nothing around me had changed. The same aroma fills the air and the same trees, the environment. However, the silence feels so empty now, as if only I and the strange machine existed in this world that was a replica of the one before I fell asleep. You are the last one, suddenly said a voice unfamiliar to me, a human voice, but lacking of any malice unlike others I have heard before. Don't be afraid, my intention is not to catch you. Actually, I am here to help you escape. He speaks again, and this time his voice makes my heart break in tiny pieces. If this is a joke, it was too cruel. But the truth is that I cannot refuse such an offer. I want it more than anything else in this world. Without thinking, I timidly walk towards the machine. Once I am close, I realize it is hovering in the air just a few inches from the ground. It's made of black matter with glowing green lines resembling a microchip circuits, and at the top there is a tube from which blue smoke escapes. Hmm. La. The door is open, filling me with huge expectation, and from the inside of the train, a man, human, is waiting for me, offering me a hand, inviting me to enter. I do not understand anything, perplexed, hold my breath. Maybe I am dreaming after all. Yes, that would make more sense. Without hesitation, my feet continue their way into the interior of the train. No matter if it's just a dream, I want to see how it continues. After all, this is all a way of escaping, isn't it?